Libet experiments on volition. So the readiness potential, RP, seems to start eerily early, as if it begins well before people consciously start to act. Benjamin Libet looked into this further in the early 1980s. The idea was to compare the onset of the RP with the onset of our conscious intention. That is, when do we feel the sense that we are going to make a movement? But how do we measure that? Libet devised a task like this. He asked people to look at a dot moving around a clock face. It moves quite fast, like about 2.5 seconds per cycle. So it would just take a fraction of a second to go from the 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock position, for example. He asked people to watch the clock and to flex their wrist whenever they spontaneously felt the urge to do so. After they did that, he stopped the clock and asked them what was the clock position when they first consciously felt any sense of wanting to move. Let's say on a given trial, the subject said she wanted to move at about the 3 o'clock position. Libet also worked out the time when the movement was actually made. Let's say it was at about the 6 o'clock position. Given the speed of the clock, he could then work out how long it took from conscious intention to actual movement execution. Libet did many repetitions of these, during which he also asked people to tell him if the movements were truly spontaneous. They must not plan the action in advance. If they did, they should let him know, and he discarded those trials accordingly. Turned out, it took people on average less than 200 milliseconds from consciously intending the movements to actually making them. That seems to make sense. When one wants to move, one just does. 200 milliseconds sounds about right. But even after discarding any trials where people said they pre-planned the action, the onset of the RP was still half a second before the actual movement. So that has sparked a fair bit of philosophical debate. Does the conscious mind lag behind the brain? Does our brain decide to act before we do? And putting this back into the context of the globalist versus localist debate, does it sound like consciousness may not be functionally all that important?